Let me say something most married men already sense, but rarely say out loud. If you think your marriage runs on honesty and teamwork alone, you probably aren't seeing the whole picture. Because inside most marriages, control doesn't come from threats, and it doesn't come from force, and it doesn't come from orders. It comes from pressure that feels emotional, reasonable, and justified. And that's exactly why it works. Here's the problem: most wives never have to tell their husbands what to do. They just have to make certain choices feel expensive, uncomfortable, or unsafe and let him connect the dots himself. She doesn't say no directly. She gets cold. She doesn't demand compliance. She gets upset. She doesn't argue facts. She shifts the conversation until you're defending yourself instead. And none of it looks like manipulation when you're inside of it, because it shows up as anger that you want to avoid, or disappointment you feel responsible for, or praise that makes you want to keep the peace, or wounded emotions that pull you into fixing mode. And you tell yourself you're choosing harmony. But what's actually happening is conditioning. Over time, you start changing your behavior, not because you decided it was right, but because you know what happens if you don't. You stop bringing things up. You stop pushing back. You stop doing certain things because it's just easier not to deal with the fallout. And that's where the damage starts. Because the more you accommodate, the more the pressure increases. The more you explain yourself, the more you're interrogated. The more you try to be fair, the more unfair the dynamic becomes. And the cost doesn't hit all at once. It shows up as lost respect and fading desire, and a growing sense that you're walking carefully in your own house, even though you're the one carrying all the weight. You're not being attacked, you're being managed. Because manipulation in marriage is rarely loud, and it's almost never obvious. And it almost always wears the mask of emotion, morality, or relationship language. Anger trains you to back down. Praise trains you to comply. Shame trains you to doubt yourself. Wounded stories train you to rescue. Endless talking trains you to forget what you wanted in the first place. Each one feels small in isolation. And together they reshape how you behave as a husband. And once a man starts acting against his own interests, the pattern locks in, because the more it works, the more it gets used. Now, here's the part most men don't want to hear. This isn't always malicious, and it isn't always conscious, and it isn't always done with bad intent. But that doesn't make it harmless. Because whether she means to or not, the outcome is the same if you don't see it. You lose leverage, you lose direction, and eventually you lose yourself inside the marriage while telling yourself you're doing the right thing. Today, I'm going to break down the most common ways wives manipulate men in marriage, why these tactics work so well, and why fighting every single one head on usually makes things worse. More importantly, I'm going to show you what actually puts a man back in control, not arguing and not explaining and not trying harder, but using the only tools that actually matter. If you've ever felt like your marriage slowly shifted without a single clear moment where you agreed to it, stay with me. By the end of this, you'll understand exactly how it happened, and more importantly, what to do about it.
We're going live, baby.
We'll do it live.
You're listening to the premier podcast for men who want to not only be better with women, but want to be better men in general. This is the Come On Man podcast. And here's your host,
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer. He is a certified master life coach and NLP practitioner.
It's true. It's damn true. Happy Monday, boys. It's New Year's week. Let's hit the ground running with some actionable information. If you are new to the channel, my name is Paul Bauer. I help men level up and get better with women. And the funny thing about doing that is it tends to make us better men in all areas of our lives. Now, today is going to be story time with Paul Bebe. I'm going to read you a blog article from one of the greatest in this space. It was written back in 2018 by the legendary Ryan Stone, the world's best red pill couch. It's on the 5 pillars of manipulation. And I was going to break this down into talking points, but just decided to read it to you instead because the way Ryan's got this written out, you can't beat it. you can't beat it. Why even try it? Anyway, so here's a link to it in the description if you guys want to read along. You know this is an old one because it's on his old Blogspot blog. Ryan had a Blogspot blog back in the day, and then he switched to ryanstone.com, I think, ryanstone.com or ryanstone.ca. He is a Canuck. And then now he writes on Substack if you guys want to follow him. But he's moving more away from red pill content and getting more into, I would say, red pill, novels and stuff like that. He's doing a lot of dystopian, Pulp Fiction type stuff. So anyway, good dude. I like to give him shit, calling him the world's best red pill couch, but that's just a running gag in the space. I actually have a lot of respect for Ryan. So his article was originally called Manipulations, right? So it starts off with a quote from Human Sock Puppet. It says, "You are a man. You are the only creature on this planet fit to accomplish anything of worth. And because of that, the rest of the world will always try to twist your mind or twist your arm to force you by deception or by threat of imprisonment to accomplish their goals instead of your own. Learn to recognize when this is happening and take back control of your life so you can do the things you want to do." So Human Sock Puppet, there's what I love about where Ryan came out of. Ryan came out of the old married red pill subreddit, and the usernames on Reddit are ridiculously funny because, everyone wants, a lot of people in the space want to be anonymous. It's not popular to be red pill. You can get canceled if you're a red pill guy. And so there's a lot of people that like to protect their anonymity. And so they have the wildest handles. And Human Sock Puppet was a guy who used to write a lot of profound stuff in the old married red pill. By the way, guys, if you are new to the channel, hit that like button, subscribe. I do have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but hit that notification bell because they don't always tell you when I'm going live. Okay. All right. So it's always Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern time, though, just FYI. So he continues on. Twisting your arm is a masculine skill. Stronger men, better armed men, men with money who pay you can coerce you to act. These are things we know, things we understand, and things we can deal with. You can use your fists or you can use the law. You can use it to give a stable rule set, a level playing field. Stable rules allow you to work at your peak. Some types of force are for your benefit, some are not, but they are known, and you have the tools to deal with them. Okay, so essentially, Ryan also did a video, narration for a guy on another channel. He was doing like one of those squiggle animations, and Ryan basically broke this down in that video, and that's how I first learned of it, because Ryan posted that on X like right before I got banned on my old X account. And I was watching, I was like, this is some good stuff, this is good stuff. And one of the things that Ryan was talking about is how, and we're going to get into it more, but when when a dude walks up to you and tells you what to do, this is all like a subconscious process, but you're like, can I kick this guy's ass? Right? And if you can kick this guy's ass, you're like, I'm not going to do what you tell me to do. Screw you, man. Right? But if that guy is clearly bigger than you and could probably kick your ass, then you'll do your best to acquiesce, right? That's typically how men operate. But women, he goes on, women don't have force. Women have manipulation, referred to in shorthand as womanese. to use the correct combination of words, body language, and tone in order to elicit an action in men for their benefit. If the words are true, so much the better, but it's not required, right? Women are the weaker sex, right? They go to tell you what to do. You're bigger than them. You're going to say, no, I can kick your ass. No, I'm not going to do that, right? If you want to get down into, caveman culture, that's not acceptable these days, but women know this, right? So they know that you're not going to beat them up. And so what do they do instead? They've learned over centuries to manipulate men through a combination of words, body language, and tone in order to elicit action in men, right? Makes sense so far? You guys following along? Cool. This might be a long article or long episode. It's kind of a long blog article, but we'll get through this. Guys. It's actually really good. He goes on, the same way one lifts weights, practices at the shooting range, and learns the law, one needs awareness of womanese. You need to be aware, as the best manipulation is one which makes you think you're in control, right? If you guys ever read Belly's Full, Balls Empty by Nurse Chick, which it's written for women, right? And it's all about why being loyal and submissive is all good and stuff like that. And it's actually really good, right? But one of the things that Nurse Chick talks about in there is essentially how a woman who is submissive, it's strategic. She can actually lead a man where she wants to go if she's using the right tools. And it's all sweetness. It's all praise and admiration. It's all good stuff that makes us feel good, but it's also a way that women get what they want, right? Which we'll get it here too a little bit. It's not always bad. Some of the stuff's not always bad. And Ryan addresses that here, right? But there are 5 ways in which a woman can both cede control and maintain control. 5 techniques used to get a man to acquiesce. The 5 main categories are anger, ego, shame, wounding, and frame shifting. The 5 pillars of manipulation. Are they good? Are they bad? Is she evil in using them? The questions I will answer are, what are the techniques? How are they used? Why are men falling for them? Are women evil in using them? Should you always fight being manipulated? And he says, as always, the answer is yes, no, and maybe, right? See, here's the thing too. It's funny when I use AI a lot to generate titles and descriptions for my YouTube channel. And when you run something like this through ChatGPT and say, hey, give me an SEO description of the video and give me a title, it by default, because it's very blue-pilled, will not use the word manipulation. People think manipulation is a bad, dirty word, right? But manipulation by itself isn't necessarily a bad thing. And so a lot of people hear the word manipulation and immediately like sirens go off in their heads and they're like, oh my God, this is the evil thing and women are manipulating us. Can you believe this? And they get all mad, right? But it's not always bad. So we'll get into that in a little bit here. But let me ask you guys this. Have you ever agreed to something in your marriage or relationship just to make the tension stop and realize later it wasn't what you actually wanted? All right. Let me know in the chat or the comments if you're watching the replay. If you know, and this is very common. A lot of guys they just want peace. They just want peace. So they are quick to settle things. They are quick to just give in because they want the fighting to stop. Right. And women know this shit. Women know this shit and they use that to their advantage. So we're going to get in that here. So the first pillar is anger. When another man is angry, the first thought that a man has is, if push came to shove, will I win in a fight with this man? If yes, you don't have to change, right? If you can kick this guy's ass, why are you going to do what this guy tells you to do, right? If no, will you be able to fight well enough to deter him from trying? Okay, so you might not win, but you might be able to get enough licks in to make this guy give up in trying to get you to do what what he wants, right? And again, if the answer is no, again, you do your best to acquiesce. So if you can't kick this guy's ass, you do your best to do what he says, right? In a way that benefits both people. He says, maybe it's an apology. Maybe it's agreeing to, and he goes, read his consensus, or following the law to the letter. It's an agreement between men. If civility breaks down, at some point, the threat of violence will become real. Like the saying, a polite society is an armed society. If you know you can lose, you can acquiesce. If you know you can win, but it's going to cost you dearly, you can disengage, right? So in modern day, you might be able to kick this guy's ass, but is it worth going to jail over, right? Like if you ever watched the old Rule Zeros where I was on it and John Fitch was still on it and stuff. John Fitch would talk about this a lot because he was a former MMA fighter. He was all about de-escalating and not getting into fights. And also there's a red pill concept that fighting is the ultimate loss of frame, right? But one of the things that John would talk about was, people have their cameras out these days. He's like, people in bar fights, if a guy's drunk enough and he's stumbling around and you sock that guy and he falls down and cracks his head open on the concrete and he dies, right? Because his brain splatter everywhere because he fell down too hard on a concrete curb. You're going to jail, right? So you doing stuff like that, it has consequences. So is it worth it? Is it worth it to you? So that's really what Ryan's getting to here, right? If it's going to cost you dearly, you disengage. If you don't know either way, you remain civil. When a woman gets angry, you don't have those same assumptions. It takes your hardwired instincts to acquiesce and use it to full advantage. There is a depressing set of comics, Marriage is Bliss. It covers the concept of a guy beaten down by a wife's anger, very well. Are you walking on eggshells? Are you afraid of your woman turning off the sex tap? That's another thing, right? She gets all mad and a lot of guys are like, crap, I'm going to lose access to my sex. I better do what she says, right? That's another reason why guys, walk on eggshells. He says, when push comes to shove, you do that same inner thought. If push comes to shove, I cannot win in a fight with the men that will protect this woman, right? So in modern society, if you beat your woman's ass, which, no one's advocating for, by the way, I have to put that out there because, I have red pill on my hat and they're like, oh, they're teaching guys to beat up women. No, we're not. But if you were to do that, it is illegal and the police will come and beat the shit out of you and take you away, right? Most men know this. And so they know that if push came to shove, they're screwed, right? They don't have that tool in their toolbox. So he says, I will not be able to fight back enough to deter the men from doing so or deter them from doing so. And so you acquiesce, you incentivize her. About incentives, they tend to encourage more of the same behavior. The more of these fights you back down from, refuse to engage or acquiesce, the more strength it gives for the next time a good tongue lashing is in order. This is one of the rules of the married red pill. Reward good behavior, don't reward bad behavior. In this case, by surrendering and giving a girl what she wants, you're encouraging it. You do this because you don't see your options. You're looking at her like an equal to a man with the benefits of a woman. Without implied threat of violence, either legal or physical, you've turned this 120-pound vagina fairy into Andre the Giant. What I love about Ryan also is that he's a pro wrestling fan, but back in the day, like old school, 80s wrestling and stuff. You look at her as an equal. You also look at her as an advantage. There is no way you can use violence against a woman and win, so you hamstring yourself because you believe the lie. Don't. Men and women are not equal. Now, when you are in these situations, realize she will get angry because it's worked so much in the past. Okay. This is why a lot of women lose their shit. And a lot of guys immediately when she loses her shit, guys immediately, their instinct is to start backing down. Like we're trained for this, right? We've been trained our whole lives, especially if you're a nice guy. If you're a recovering nice guy, you're probably in your head right now going, Paul knows exactly what I'm talking about. Like this is how I feel with my wife right now. When you ask yourself who will win in a fight, you change the frame. Okay. Now think about that for a second. If your wife's yelling at you and you ask yourself, okay, if we went to blows, who would win here? You immediately change the frame. Not saying you have to go to blows. In fact, please don't go to blows with your wife, but you immediately change the frame, right? So he says, you immediately change the frame. There is no fight. This is a little girl. If a 4-year-old called you a poopy face, what would you do? Drop kick her through the door? Give in and do what she says? Or would you laugh, rub her head, and get back to whatever it is you are doing before she interrupted? Right? Now, if she tries to break that frame by hitting you, that's a whole other issue. I would treat that as a deal breaker. You do you. You know, even if a woman goes to hit you, you don't have to hit a girl back. Like you can restrain her pretty well, right? My mom and dad tell this story of my dad's point of view was my mom was going to bludgeon him to death with a monkey wrench. And my mom's side of the story was, no, she was just trying to take the monkey wrench away from my dad. But there was an issue way back in the day when my parents were just newly married. My brother and I don't know if we had even come along yet, but my dad was putting in a washer and dryer and he was getting super frustrated with putting this in. Things weren't fitting right. And he got mad and he took the monkey wrench and like hit the washing machine with it. Right. And my mom freaks out because my dad's getting angry. And to my dad, used to say, if you're not cussing at things, you're not going to fix things, right? Like that was my dad's process. So my dad gets pissed off and he hits the washing machine with this monkey wrench. And my mom comes over and rips it out of his hand. And my dad thought she was going to hit him with it. So he just grabbed my mom real quick and wrapped her up. And she got all mad. She's trying to struggle. And my mom's, 4 foot nothing. And so my dad just got her like this. And he's like, put it down, right? You can do that. You're not, you don't have to fight with your wife. That's all I'm saying. Okay. But Jesus Christ, guys, if it gets to that point, I think you got other issues. If you guys really want some tools to be able to handle this sort of thing, grab my book, Get Her to Fuck You Again. It really takes you through lots of different tools to solve problems like this.
Are you tired of the dead bedroom? Wondering what happened to the passion, the connection, and the spark? Well, here's your answer. Introducing Get Her to Fuck You Again, a red pill guide to fix a dead bedroom, now on Amazon. This isn't about manipulation or tricks. It's about real strategies that work. If your wife has stopped being intimate with you, it's not because the love is gone. It's because the attraction is gone. And that's fixable. This book will teach you the skills to lead your marriage, rebuild your confidence, and become the man she can't stop thinking about. 3 reasons to get this book. 1. It breaks the cycle. You'll learn how to stop doing the same things that are killing her attraction and start doing the things that reignite it. 2. It's practical and proven. With clear, actionable steps, you'll build yourself into the man you were always meant to be. 3. It works for men like you. Paul Bauer has helped hundreds of men just like you fix their dead bedrooms. And now, it's your turn. Don't let another day go by feeling frustrated and disconnected. Go to Amazon right now and buy Get Her to Fuck You Again. Read it, apply it, and watch your marriage transform. The connection isn't gone forever. You just need the roadmap to get it back. And this book is it.
It's also available on Audible, guys, if you prefer listening to stuff. I do. I prefer audiobooks. So yeah, if you guys ever hear me like sort of jokingly say like, why are you fighting with your wife? Like you could take her. Like, why are you so scared of your wife, bro? You could take her, right? She's 5 foot nothing. Like, You can take her, right? It's not because I'm saying beat the crap out of your wife. I'm saying like stop being afraid of these little tiny women, right? Like stop that stuff. And that's essentially what Ryan's saying too. So the next pillar here is ego. And he says, not all manipulation is negative. Ego is particularly clever since it taps into your longing for validation. Most men have a need to prove their masculinity. In fact, there are two things a man cannot fake: sex and violence. Everything else is fungible. This is why fucking and fighting are so integral to a man. They are earned and objective. A woman intuitively knows this. Open that jar of pickles for me, you big, strong man, you. Or you're such an insert insecurity or validation here. What man doesn't want to encourage this more, right? Reward good behavior. Don't reward bad behavior, right? Wouldn't you want to encourage this woman, encourage her worshiping, to agree on how manly he is? Ask yourself, is that what she's really doing? Remember, womanese, the correct use of words and tone to elicit an action. It's not malicious, and she's very well may believe it at the same time, like emotions are fickle, right? Now, this is interesting, reading this, just knowing Ryan and just, my dealings with Ryan over the years and talking with him and being on shows with him and stuff like that. Ryan absolutely hates praise. He absolutely hates people, as he calls, fluffing him. He will not take compliments from people. And, I'm a big fan of Ryan's, right? I love his books. I've learned so much from Ryan in the space. In fact, in the early days when I was on Rule Zero, being able to sit under the learning tree of Rollo, Ryan, Paul Benjamin, just being able to be there and just through osmosis, take these geniuses' ideas in, right, and learn from them was phenomenal for me, especially as an up and coming podcaster in the space, right? And so I would tell Ryan, like, man, that's genius, right? Like, wow, like it's really, and he would immediately shut it down. And I'm like, Ryan, why won't you let us fluff you? Like, why? And he goes, because my immediate gut instinct is, what do you want? My immediate gut instinct is, what do you want? And I'm like, okay, that explains a lot, right? Anyway, he says, I had a shipmate during my early days, Stacy. She was what we in the 90s called a turbo slut. She was always branch swinging from short-term relationship to short-term relationship, a real serial monogamist. When she had a new man, all she could talk about was his big fucking hammer. A big tittied, pretty young prairie girl talking about giant cocks. Always good for a laugh. I imagine you would do all kinds of things to encourage a chick to brag about your dick, to brag about it to anyone who would listen. Except, like clockwork, a few months later, the guy would be gone, his replacement in the wings. And what happened then? Well, in Horville, they say that the guy's big dick shrunk 3 sizes that day. And then the true meaning of Stacy came through. The guy lacked the prowess of 10 inches plus 2. So, do you see what he's saying there? He's saying that this woman would talk up this guy and talk about what a big dick he had and all this stuff. But as soon as they broke up, oh, he's little dick. Oh, he's got a small little pecker, right? Oh, he's got little dick syndrome, right? Like that's because that's how women are. They like to, which gets into shaming and stuff, but that's one of women's tools, right? So he says, shed the need for validation and ego flattery loses its power, right? So this explains why Ryan doesn't like people complimenting him that much. And that's why I all the more love to compliment that guy and how fucking great he is. And by the way, guys, if you didn't know, he's got like 1 million books out, and Dread is a really good one. I highly recommend you guys get that because it is probably one of the best books I've ever read in my life because he is the world's best red pill couch. Okay. He's probably watching this right now, just not in the comments going, fuck you, Paul. Fuck you, man. I one time saw him. He was in the comments of I think what's his name? Rob Says. He was in the comments of Rob Says, and he did pop into the comments at one point, and then they were like, "Oh, hey, Ryan's in the chat," right? And they brought him up, and he goes, "This is exactly why I typically just like to lurk on videos, is because I don't want to change the focus away from what they're talking about to me, right? Because of this." Anyway, let us fluff you, Ryan Stone. Come on, fuck, dude. Anyway, he says, remember, she feels it at that time. It may be sincere in her little girl brain. She may mean it completely. It may even be objectively true. Remember, it's a fleeting emotional outburst to make you more malleable. He goes, I said before, if a man is his own judge, and it's not just about not apologizing for being you, it's also about not buckling with compliments. They are controlling as the strongest punch. So what I would say to that sort of thing is don't discourage it in your girl. You know, like Nurse Chick likes to talk about like my triceps, and she's like, oh, those triceps are amazing. Oh, yeah. And I encourage that shit. Like, please fluff the shit out of me, right? But I also, if I don't want to do something, I have no problem telling Nurse Chick no. And that's really what it comes down to, right? Not letting women use this flattery shit to make you do things that you wouldn't otherwise do. Does that make sense, guys? Okay, cool. Okay. You don't have to go so hard on not accepting compliments as Ryan. Not saying that that's a bad thing, but you don't have to, is all I'm saying. Okay. You can accept compliments and still be your own mental point of origin, especially if you objectively know it's true. Like, goddamn, my triceps are pretty fucking awesome. I don't mean to toot my own horn here. By the way, guys, if you are getting value out of these episodes, do consider sending a super chat. I do this full time, so your super chats actually help me pay my bills. The Restream isn't free, you know. Okay. The next one we have here is shame. Now, this is a big one. Women love using shame. Like, do you know how many times a day people call me bald? They like, and dudes pick up on this stuff too, but women are the worst about it. They immediately jump to bald because they're trying to shame me for something I have no control over. And by the way, I'm not even really bald all the way. In fact, I can't wait. I think probably the end of January, maybe even the end of February is when I'll do the reveal of my hair. I'm letting it grow out. I want it to get to a place where it's like at least 2 inches long, where I'm actually able to comb it really well. Right now, I can mess it up pretty good. You know, I got this sort of the messy look, but I want to be able to, like, you know, comb it nice and have decently long hair. So I'm waiting for the reveal on that. That's why I've been wearing my hats on every episode lately. But because I'm not showing you guys that yet. And when you guys see it, you guys going to be like, what the fuck? I thought Paul was balder than shit. No, I just shaved my head for 3 years. That's why when people like make fun of me for being bald, I just chuckle at it, because I'm like, I'm not really bald, but whatever. You do you, man. Engagement's engagement. So shame. Shame is the reaction you feel when someone goes after your soft spots. Men hate the idea of not being a man. What does it mean to be a real man? Who cares? Once she throws it out there, you're on the defensive. This is one of the reasons why I don't like to use tropes like that. I refuse to, right? Like, to be a real man, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? And you see it a lot in social media. A real man does da, 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 da. I want you guys to, when you see the words, a real man does X, just at the end of that, put, a real man does whatever fits my narrative. Because that's what that really means when people say that. And you see a lot of women doing that kind of shit, right? A real man does whatever fits my narrative, and, you know, whatever benefits me is what a lot of women do, right? A real man does whatever benefits me and fits my narrative. Just think about that for a little bit, okay? You being your own mental point of origin, you get to determine what a real man is, okay? No one gets to define that for you. So he goes, what does it mean to be a real man? Who cares? Once she throws it out there, you're on the defensive. And the stronger you proclaim that it's not true, the more it looks like you're hiding your shame. By treating it as real, you make it real. Everyone has it to some extent. Parents are ashamed of being bad parents. Men are ashamed of being bad men. It's an issue of frame. When you are insecure about some failure, some inadequacy, or just don't know if you're up to par, that's your thing. No one knows your insecurities, so shut the fuck up about them. Don't flinch. You know, it's funny he says don't flinch here. The word flinch, it's a commonly used AI word. And anytime I see it now, I'm like, that was written with AI. Right? That was written with AI or corrected by AI, right? Because a lot of people use AI as their editors in books now. Don't flinch. But this was written before AI was a thing, so it was a real thing. That took me out of it for a second. Most of the time, people aim for the common spots anyway. Men have little dicks. Parents are bad parents. Women are super sensitive about blowing Aziz Ansari. When someone else frames your failure and you buy into that, they manufactured both your failure and your shame from it. So, I don't know, the two women that are watching this right now, you often see in the space guys shitting on single moms. But if you're a single mom, they're shaming you. They're shaming you for being a single mom, whether that was your fault or not, right? Like, and so a lot of that, this is men using women's shame against you. It's just, I'm just saying it. Like people do this shit. Like not just women do this shit. Shame is sort of emotional violence. Instead of avoiding physical pain, you avoid the emotional pain. It's what drives your coercion, the polar opposite of ego. You acquiesce to avoid pain, not to increase pleasure. So then he has bullet points here. You will be made to feel bad about not doing something. You will be made to feel bad for even thinking that thing. A real man would do it. Only real men do it. My ex used to do it all the time. Even my ex would never have thought about doing that, right? The only people who do it are low quality. He goes, this one is common when women are talking about their soft spots. Your happiness is the fault of low quality intelligence in women, right? So when guys are talking about, finding submissive women, a lot of women will shame other women for being naturally submissive to their man, right? They'll be like, oh, she's low quality or she's low intelligence. You see this shit all the time, right? Intelligent people, or those who wish they were, think only stupid people do it, right? Attractive people, or those who wish they were, think only unattractive people do it. Insecure people, or those pretending to be secure, can only imagine an insecure person doing it. You also see this a lot in the red pill space. Whenever we put out, tropes or platitudes or whatever on fucking X, like you get women inevitably in the comments. You even get blue pill dudes in the comments going, "Who hurt you? Who hurt you?" Right? That's them trying to, talk about your insecurity. You're just an insecure guy, right? If you don't want your girl to go out with her single hoe friends, you're just being insecure, right? That's this at play. Show us where the bad man touched you. That's another one. You are your one and only judge, and you will refuse to be judged by any standards other than your own. Again, you are your only judge, and I will make a plea for irrational confidence, the best defense against shame. Okay. So this is being your own mental point of origin, being your own judge. Not like anyone can say whatever they want to you. If you have strong mental frame, you're not going to let it bother you. Okay. This is why oftentimes, if you guys are in the wolf pack, you'll see me talk about stuff like this, because guys will get upset, right? They'll get upset about what their wives doing. They'll get upset about what their ex-wives doing. And a lot of it is because these women are still using these tactics on you, and you haven't strengthened your frame up enough to not let it bother you, right? Because you're still being bothered by it, right? All right. Speaking of Wolfpack, guys, when would now be a good time? Hold on. Where the fuck is this here? Let's see. Oh, it's right here. When would now be a good time to run with the wolves? Bear club? Not anymore.
You fix what's broken. You lead like a man again. No pity, no therapy. Just fire, just flame. Cold bed, broken home. Midlife drift, feeling alone. You don't need hacks, blogs, lies. You need men with fire in their eyes. We rebuild from the ground up. No excuses, no soft stuff. Telegram lit 24/7. Brothers locked in steel, not heaven. Step inside the pack. We don't fall, we attack. Truth, fire, presence, we bring it back. Masculine pride, no time to slack. Step inside the pack. Drop your past, claim your track. No therapy talk, no playing small. We sharpen blades, we take it all.
Ooh, for the love of God, too sweet me, baby. Guys, by the way, if you didn't know, we have a bunch of subgroups in the wolf pack, right? So if you join the wolf pack and let's say you have a New Year's resolution of losing weight and get back in shape, Wolfpack's a perfect place to do it. We have a fitness accountability subgroup in there. And we also have, he's here in the chat, smashing like is alpha. Dar Fitness is like our resident expert. So if you guys need one-on-one coaching, he is available in there too. But if you join there we go. If you join the wolf pack, you get access to the fitness accountability subgroup. Pinned in the chat is also my basic diet and fitness mini course that I put out a couple of years ago. It's free access, especially if you don't even know where to begin with working out. It's the perfect place to start. There's only 4 exercises that you truly need to get back in shape. And then it also talks about calories in, calories out, and how to track that effectively to lose the weight. And then you just have the brothers in there holding you accountable every day. And you'll see it in the chat. Everyone, like every day, is posting their workouts every day. And it makes you want to post your workouts every day. And if you're not doing it, you're a puss, okay? You're a little bitch if you don't do it. But it's a great place, especially if you need that push, that extra motivation to get you going to the gym, right? So highly recommend doing that. It's only $10 a month. All right, we got a bunch of people in the chat here. Let me get these guys. Eric Von Eric says, good morning. And DX Mateo says, great show. Thanks, man. Oh, crap. Nurse Chick's in the house. She says, good morning, gentlemen. Thanks for the book shout out, my love. And that's her manipulating me, guys. I can't believe her. Can you believe her?
I'm so naughty.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna come.
Yep.
That pussy must be ridiculous.
It is, guys. And that's me manipulating her back. So with flattery in her ego. Let's see here. D. Ambrose says, hello there. And Darfit says fluffy. You know, I actually got that term from Ryan. He's always like, stop fluffing me, right? So I'm always like, let us fluff you, bro. He says, you're going to frost tip the ends like a 90s Backstreet Boy. I always shaved my head in high school. Just liked it better at the time. You know what? Shaving my head, it was just low maintenance. You know, it was just super easy for the last couple of years. You know, I just, every 2 days, I'd take my skull shaver and just run it over. It was perfect. I loved it. And no, I'm not going to frost tip it. I used to do that though. Back in high school in the 90s, I would dye my hair like canary yellow. And then I wouldn't frost tip it. What I would do is just dye all my hair canary yellow and then just let it grow out naturally. That's what I would do. Super, super stupid. Anyway, we all do dumbass shit when we're teenagers. Wounding is the next one here. Ryan says, I remember a scientific concept of crying babies, screaming women, and whining dogs. There is something within the male brain that has a visceral reaction to all of them. When one of the things we value cry out under distress, we get a boost of anxiety and an innate need to protect, to remove the source of that distress. You know who does this the most? My mom. My mom is, her brother says it this way. He goes, you're such a crybaby. You're always crying. You're such a crybaby. So I like to, whenever my mom's like being a bawling crybaby, I'm like, you're such a crybaby, mom. But But my mom does this kind of shit all the time. Like if she knows it works, and she'll call and she'll start crying about whatever because like you're not visiting me enough. It starts crying and shit. Women know it works. That's why they do it. Love you, Mom. Sometimes my mom secretly tunes into the show, and then I say stuff like that, and then she complains to my dad, and then my dad goes, "You're not allowed to talk about your mom on the show anymore." And I'm like, I told her not to tune in. Like, the show's not for you, Mom. If you're tuning in right now and you're upset, that's your fault. Okay. Anyway, it says made sense for cavemen. Cave women didn't get angry because their boss made them stay late. They got angry because a bear was trying to eat her kids, or some dude was trying to cleave her head with a cudgel. You are the only creature on this planet fit to accomplish anything of worth, and people instinctively know if they feign wounds, it can tap into that. It's not just women. Anyone who has been friends with a deadbeat will tell you the same. They just need a few bucks for something, or want forgiveness for doing that same stupid thing they always do, acting as pathetic as possible. When it's someone you like, it's begrudging coercion. When it's someone you don't like, it's shameful behavior. When it's a vagina you may be fucking, it's the fucking bat signal, he says. Oh, he's got away with words, doesn't he? It's easy when it isn't you at the receiving end. Everyone has that friend who is dating a dud, but he just can't see it. One of my best shipmates, Colin, he had it bad. He dated this French girl, Elle. Every time she was off to do something with the boys, she would get sick. She would have a headache. She would need to have him take care of her. And sure enough, we would get the same call week after week. He was sorry. He couldn't go out with us that weekend. Elle needed something. He had to take care of her. He was such a loyal soldier. Even after they broke up and I worked with her when I was teaching at the Fleet School, it was the same thing. A posting would come up out of area, and she would be at the hospital coming up with all manner of NATO knee, rim pack back, and Padre confessionals. Any sort of victim injury in order to remain in her cushy job. You know what? I knew a chick like that too. When I was on the USS Shiloh, I served on the Shiloh for 4 years. And there was this chick who was an OS2, right? Operations specialist, second class petty officer, OS2. And she and I got along pretty good. But the fact was she had never been on a deployment ever, because every time she would be stationed on a ship, she would work with her husband to get pregnant. She would actively try to get pregnant to avoid going on deployment. And the thing was, is we were getting ready to go on deployment in 2000, and she tried, but she was getting a little long in the tooth, you know what I mean? And she just couldn't get pregnant, and she fucking had to go on her first deployment. And she was a ball baby the entire fucking time because she missed her kids, she missed her husband, and all the guys on the ship are like, especially the old salts that had been on a million deployments. It's like, bitch, we have to leave our fucking wives and kids all the time, all the fucking time. You don't get it. You're not a mom. You know what I mean? Like that's. Anyway. Any sort of victim injury to make her. Oh, yeah. So he says, Max, one of our freshly married men, was sent off without his wife to the coldest, most remote place in North Quebec because she had a date that weekend. Seriously, right? This is why, you know, as much as the feminists want, you know, women in the military and equal rights and equal jobs and all that kind of stuff, this is what a lot of women do. Right. Forget the military. Women do this kind of shit in the workforce, and they get out of stuff because of this kind of shit. And so they don't get paid as much. And so then there's this whole like, oh, wage pay, women need equal pay. It's like, well, do the fucking equal shit. Do the equal shit. Okay. Get sent off to the most coldest remote place in North Quebec for a change, and stop crying about my baby. Like, okay, if you want fucking equality, You get everything that comes with it. Okay. Stop crying about the page. That's why the wage gap is the pay wage gap fucking thing is a total myth, you know? People are going to be killed by bears and rival tribes. Oh, people aren't going to be killed by bears and rival tribes anymore. You need to quash that instinct inside you. It's a gift, not an obligation. Get cold or you will get owned, right? So basically, look past your girls crying. This is one of the reasons why Cappy just, I love Cappy, man. He just reviewed Keep Your Bitch on his channel. And the thing about Cappy is he has zero tolerance for women, and his audience, it's funny, he'll do these reviews and he'll go, hey, did you get a boost in sales? I'm like, no, you didn't exactly sell my book. You know what I mean? Like, your audience doesn't like women that much. They're all a bunch of MGTOW losers. And so of course they're not buying my book on keeping their relationships going. They can't even get a girl. Like, what are you talking about? Anyway, Cappy's like whole thing is, why are you crying? Like, stop it. You're not a child. Act like a grown up or get the fuck out. Right? Like, that's how Cappy deals with shit. Like, Cappy. Anyway, by the way, guys, I'm on all the different cool social media platforms. You should follow me on there. One of the things I posted yesterday, I posted a thing about like why I shit post. Because if you guys follow me on social media, you know I'm shit posting, right? Like I post all this like, you know, negative shit about women and like whatever. And I was telling this to Nikki Corbett. She hosts the Scarlet Edit podcast. And I made a joking post, and she's got a good sense of humor. So she like jumped in the comments and she said something in there, not negative. She wasn't like arguing with me or whatever. She thought it was funny. And then of course, dudes in there start shitting on her. And so she starts arguing with these guys. She goes, I don't get these guys. These guys like really hate women. And I go, well, that's a part of the reason why I put out inflammatory shit on social media. One, because it's entertaining. Two, because it gets engagement. Three, it actually attracts a bunch of guys who have been hurt in relationships. They're not doing very good with women, right? And so they gravitate towards that stuff because they are pissed off at women, right? And so they go there and they see that stuff and they comment, whatever. They eventually do come to the podcast where they can learn how to handle that shit better. Like the long form contents where you really get the good information. The social media stuff is shit posting. So don't take that stuff so seriously. Anyway, frame shifting, guys. That's the next one here. Oh, by the way, we got a $5 super chat from Dar Fitness. Sent $5 super chat. I'm going to give him this one here.
I was just going to say it. This guy fucks. Am I right?
Definitely fucks. There's this lady, this thicker gal. I would say she's thick. She's not like obese or anything, but she was thicker. And I saw her comment on, or her post on Threads. And so she was talking about how now that she's divorced, she's not settling anymore. And I'm what'd she say? I'm rejecting any man that doesn't whatever. And I replied back, I go, you might want to reject seconds at dinner, because now that you're single, you're going to want to lose some weight. Because I'm a fucking asshole, right? Well, anyway, Darfit is there. He's like, he likes the thicker gals a little bit. And he's like, oh shit, she can get this work, man. This is my kind of gal right here. He's like, what's her at? I was like, here you go, man. She's all yours. She's all yours, bro. He's like, I would, what do you say? I would bend her up like a pretzel. Yeah. All right. She definitely fucks, guys. Frame shifting. For the male who is not quite broken or is blissfully unaware, as naturals often are, this one is a killer. Close your eyes, think back. Picture those girls, the ones you met in university or the ones you meet at work. They are the ones who talked about school as if they were the first ones in the world to attend school, right? Hashtag I am very smart. The girl who thinks their sheepskin equates to their IQ. Very similar attitude to those snarky new moms. The kind of woman who prefaces some bullshit statement by saying, as a mother, I ... If you've heard this before, then you know you got one. It is manipulation. The same way that your headlights keep a deer from crossing the highway, and instead of having it stand there like soon to be roadkill, the goal is to make you too tired to fight, to make the mental labor involved in standing up for yourself harder than the mental labor involved in giving in. Deer in the headlights. This type of manipulation is so common, it's cliche. Bill Burr talks about how women argue, bringing up old situations to assign blame, but have nothing to do with the current situation. This is why women bring up old shit, right? This is one of the reasons why women bring up old shit. I talk about it. I've talked about it a lot before. I think in Everything I Wish I Knew When I Was 18. A lot of the times women will bring up old shit is because women are very good at seeing patterns over time. And it's their way of saying, you've let me down similarly in the past, right? And that's one of the reasons why they bring up old shit, but also manipulation, okay? Bringing up old situations to assign blame, but have nothing to do with the current situation. Demoting the conversation on a concept into an emotional one. She can be a subtle narcissist and bring out any information that points you out for hypocrisy. So satisfying. She can be like the Charles and Edna example here. He's got a link to something. Reverse psychology, the Socratic method, tit for tat negotiation. The last one is the finest example of Breifeldt's law. How many times has a woman you've known promised you something, usually sexual, in order to get you to do something, right? How many times have you done something and then your reward fizzles into nothing? Frame shifting is the ability to make your reality into her reality, along with all the fuzzy memories and logic that come with it. The smarter a woman is, the more adept she is at this skill. When a woman who is on the low end of intelligence try it, it's also effective. Not because it's more skillful, but it short circuits the man's pathways. It's a dance. Do enough words that everyone forgets how the conversation started, but we know damn well where it ended. You know why women do it better than men? Because men have shame. Men have that want for honesty. The men want for loyalty, the want for open communication. Take away those constraints and act only to get yours. Only then will you not fall for this stuff. So, you know, largely when a woman says stuff like, hey, if you do X, I'll give you X, right? That's one of the things one of his examples in there. You've got to look at it like, what's in it for me, right? What's in it for me to do that? If you don't want to do something, by all means, tell her no. It's absolutely okay to tell her no. And then she might get angry, which is another form of manipulation. This is why using tools like fogging, negative inquiry, negative assertion, all those types of communication tools that I teach and get her to fuck you again come in super handy. It allows you to deal with this kind of shit in a way that you're not losing your cool, right? You're maintaining frame. You're maintaining, your own sense of sovereignty. You're being your own mental point of origin by not falling for all this kind of bullshit. The coolest thing about all this, though, right? A lot of guys are afraid of this kind of stuff. They're afraid. They're like, oh, well, she's going to leave me, right? Oh, well, she's going to take away the sex tap, right? Those are her tools for coercion. If you don't fall for that kind of stuff, the thing is, women respect you more, right? You don't fall for the 5 stages of the betaization process because you're handling her tests. She maintains respect for you, and a woman can't love a man she doesn't respect. But so if she keeps that respect there and she goes, man, I can't fucking get my way with this guy, she loves you more. It's counterintuitive. It's super counterintuitive, right? But Ryan says, frame is king. Disregard what is said. Focus on what you want. Less talk, more action. Now, normally, this is where I would promote my Passive Dread Blueprint course, which I highly recommend you guys take a look at, right? It's the next step after Get Her to Fuck You Again would be to take that course, dread.fixdeadbedrooms.com. But since we're talking about Ryan Stone's work today, I'd also like to promote his book, Dread, for him. He's not asking me to do this. He's not paying me. I just like fluffing that man because he's so fucking awesome. just kidding. But no, seriously, Dread is a really good book. So if you need more tools in your toolbox to fix marriage, right? Get Her to Fuck You Again and Dread. They're perfect companion books to each other, and they're just more tools in your toolbox. Okay. So I'd recommend you guys get that. Ryan, his books on Amazon or Audible. Counterpoints. Okay. So we've basically talked about most of this stuff. Okay. So counterpoints. Manipulation isn't good and evil any more than when my grandmother would call dice and playing cards the devil's tools. They are tools. Old ladies playing crib do not equal Vegas taking your money. The thing about manipulation isn't that it's evil or that it's always used against your best interests. The clever thing, much of the time, the manipulations are good for you. They're good for you, right? The one time you do get a lackluster fuck out of a promise to make it up to you later, I'm sure everyone has experienced or given this at least once in their life. So basically, he's saying you get she told you to clean the gutters and she'll fuck you, and then she actually made good on her promise. Yeah, that worked out. It doesn't work out, right? She manipulated you and you got some sex. It worked out, right? That's essentially what he's saying here. It's funny. So I was working with a business coach last year with 3 business coaches. They were all, in the same company. They would all attend the, the weekly classes that we would take and stuff. And this guy, Mark, gave a really good speech on manipulation, right? Because one of the guys in the class was like, we're basically learning sales, and sales is manipulation if you think about it, right? But it's not bad, because you've got a problem. I have a solution. I'm trying to sell you on my solution, but my solution is going to fix your problem, right? So me selling you on the solution could be considered as manipulation, but it's not bad. It's not negative. That's why I hate ChatGPT refuses to use the word manipulation until you say, hey, use the word manipulation in this fucking paragraph, you motherfucker, because blue pill thinking is manipulation's always evil. It's not always evil. Sometimes it's in people's best interest. And one of the things that Mark said was, he goes, think about this. He says, let's say you have a teenage daughter and she's getting into all sorts of stuff. She's into drugs. She's whoring herself around. She's making all these bad decisions. She's failing school, all this kind of stuff. He goes, would you avoid trying to use some form of manipulation to get her to stop? He goes, fuck no. He goes, I would use every tool in the toolbox. I would manipulate the shit out of her to get her to stop, because it's in her best interest, right? And he goes, you got to think about it like you're on the street and some guy's trying to mug you. He's like, would you not gouge his fucking eyes out in order to save your own life? Or would you be like, oh, that's wrong, I can't do that? He goes, no, I'm fucking doing whatever it takes to survive that situation. I'm going to fucking dig your eyes out. I'm going to fucking rip your ear off. I'm going to do whatever it takes to survive, right? That's physical manipulation. You know what I mean? So you can't always look at manipulation like it's this evil thing. You sort of have to take it case by case and look at it from a position of what's in it for me. Because sometimes you might get something out of it, right? If you are in the market for a new car and you're going shopping at the different car dealerships, that all the different fucking car dealers are going to try to manipulate you into buying their car. Well, if they give you a really great deal and it's a car that you want and you need a car anyway, is it a bad thing? It's not a bad thing. You got a fucking car out of it, right? Mutual benefit. He got paid. He got a commission. You got a fucking car, right? Not always a bad thing. He goes, those times when a loved one is truly in distress and you come to their rescue. He goes, I remember a New Year's trip to Seattle. Some random dude tried grabbing my girl in our hotel and tried dragging her out. He goes, I cut my hand on a painting I had broken, throwing the back of his head into it with the choke technique my stepfather taught me. An ego stroking in front of me. An ego stroking in front of a peer group can have lasting benefits on your networks. Stacy's doing the Lord's work, right? So that chick talking about, this guy's got the biggest dick in the world, right? Well, if other women hear that, well, the best the best advertising is word of mouth advertising. All the other chicks within earshot will be like, oh, I want to see that guy's dick, right? See, the Lord's work. Because I would often bring one of my plates onto my ship's many dignitary functions. The captain, coxswain, and executive officer always loved how much more attractive it made their crew look, surrounded by attractive women hanging off their crew's arms. My head of department tried to get me charged, and the command team laughed him out of the room. Influential. For all these techniques, if they never benefited you, you would never agree to them. They are this intermittent reward system that women learn through trial and error. So again, is it evil? Is it malicious? Yes, no, maybe. They are the little white lies, right? So he's got a list here. Oh, it's not so bad. He will get over it. I meant it at the time, but X got in the way. It's for his own good. It's only asking for such a small thing. But much of the time, they aren't. No one can look back fondly at the time their ex-wife gaslights a man into avoiding all his friends like poor Colin used to be. No one can look back fondly when their ex-girlfriend shamed him, calling him distrusting and controlling. Meanwhile, she's fucking some other dude while he continues to pay the bills. No one can fondly look back at the time their wife said she can't do some sexual thing and would be triggered from some sexual incident in her past and avoid fucking a guy for years. Then, 2 weeks after the divorce, is out happily riding another dude. Questions you should ask yourself. Should you worry about it? What do you do about it? For that, each man has to ask this of himself. Be aware of when you're being manipulated. Hold on to the golden rule. What's in it for me? I've said that several times in this episode, right? What's in it for me? Is the manipulation for mutual benefit or is it for your detriment? Had she not used shame, anger, or weasel words to get you to do something, had she simply asked like a normal adult, would you have still done it? Right? That's why I said, like, if she asked you to do something and you're going to do it anyway, you're going to do it anyway. So like, you might as well, like a lot of times we talk about in the space of chore play, right? Like, don't do chore play. Don't try to do the dishes to get your wife to want to bang you, because that doesn't make you more sexually attractive. But the dishes still need to be done, right? So if you're going to do the dishes because they need to be done, not because you're trying to get something out of your wife. That kind of stuff goes hand in hand with what we're talking about here. Let's see here. Have you been a floor mat for so long you need to establish that you are no longer a plow horse? Or are you being given a carrot on a stick dangled just out of reach, right? Manipulation. We're almost done here, guys. We're a little bit over today. Manipulation. Women get angry. Women play to your ego. Women will shame you. Women will play wounded. And women will shift the frame until you're acting against your own interests. Not always, but often enough. There's no need to get mad over it. It's no different than your boss or that guy at the bar. They aren't directly telling you what you have to do, but they have that underlying understanding. You will do what I say, or you will be out of a job, right? You will not fuck with me, or I will put you down. You will follow the law, or you will lose your freedom, right? That woman in your life will use her womanese to get you to do something for her or stop doing something for yourself. You will act on her wishes or else. Instead, you are adding to the tools you have in order to deal with these new coercive methods. Just like the tools you have for your male and society interactions. If your boss pushes you too far, you should have fuck you money and you will find another job. If that guy in the bar tests you, you will put him down. If you cannot, you will make it cost him more than it's worth to start any shit. If your woman is manipulating you further than you care to be manipulated, you will use your tools. And this is the crux of it. The guiding principle of what you can do and what your tools are for dealing with women. Your only tools. A man only has 3 tools: your commitment, your affection, and your attention. Those tools only have teeth based on your sexual market value. You aren't using the stick to avoid manipulation. You're removing the carrot. So when he says these tools only have teeth based on your sexual market value, you'll often hear me talk about, going to the gym, right? That's one of the reasons why we say go to the gym, is because you're going to make yourself more attractive, which raises your sexual market value, right? You also have to work on your mental frame, because until she respects you, you have lower SMV in her eyes. So she will never do what you tell her to do if she sees herself as above you. And that's why a lot of the tools that I give you and Get Her to Fuck You Again and Ryan gives you in Dread are about raising your sexual market value to a place where she starts respecting you again, right? So that you can use these tools more effectively. Until then, right, you're really, your only tool is to remove your time and attention. Really, that's a lot of that's your only tools, right? But learning effective communication techniques that I talk about and Get Her to Fuck You Again also are tools that you can use to your advantage. But a lot of that is frame control, right? So that she learns how to respect you again. A lot of it's taking you back to the beginning of the betatization process. So that she starts respecting you again, so that your SMV in her eyes raises. So she, that's it's a very complicated process. It's really easy for Ryan to say commitment, affection, and attention, but without extra tools to help you with that, right? You're going to be guessing. You're going to be guessing. All right. All right. That's all I got, guys. What do we got here? Hey, what's going on, brother? This shows up late here. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good to see you. All right, guys. That's all I got for this episode. Tune into the podcast on Wednesday. It will be New Year's Eve. We will be live. I plan on talking about women's mixed signals and how to never deal with them again. Okay, so if you're a man that's frustrated by mixed signals from women, you're going to want to watch that episode, all right? But that's all I got, guys. Thanks for tuning in today. If you haven't done so already, please like, subscribe, hit those notifications. I do have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and we'll see you next time.
This has been the Come On Man podcast. Now, go out and get it.